Welcome everybody to the 2019 post-draft video. We're going to surprise you a little bit. We kind of kept it a secret when we would have this video out, and Sal and I got together a little bit earlier, which I like because the draft was before the season and the video is going to be a couple of days before the season. So what we say is, based on stuff we don't know yet. And if we predict it right, we'll just look better than all of you, and you have to give us credit. But before we get started, without further ado, let me once again introduce my great co-host, Salvatore Cuculo of the Bistro Smokers. Welcome, Sal.
Oh yeah, it's Rich. Thank you, man.
Oh, awesome. Thank you once again.
Always look forward to this day.
Thank you once again.
This is one of my favorite days aside from draft day.
Yeah, it's good, and I'm glad we didn't do the pre-draft.
You were
right.
right.
Energy.
You were right. I think we saved some of the energy, helped us focus on our drafts, and it gave us a lot of ammunition, if you say, or a lot of material for this video.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that when you have to do a pre-draft, and then you also got to prepare for your team, and then you got to come back right away and do a post-draft. It's like in the NFL when they play on Sunday and have to play on Thursday. It's harder than you think, and when you can't say names, and in the pre-draft, all we talk about is people's styles anyway. So I'm glad we did the one video. We're doing the video. Don't worry about us ever doing a video and whatever. But so, draft day is fun. I know we do it early in the morning. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but it works twofold. I can't believe it's already gone and passed.
It came and went. It was fun. It lives up to the hype.
Yep.
I think it was just another wonderful day, and I love the venue. Everything
good
about it, so it
venue,
works
good
out.
food, good venue. Thank you, Paulie.
Yep.
But one thing I notice about the drafts now, and more every year, they're getting harder. They're getting harder. People are getting more prepared. Internet, satellite radio, all these professionals, people definitely take them more seriously. We haven't had to find new owners in a while.
Yep. Flashes. Just your everything is available at your phone.
Yeah.
All this information, all these websites. There's a lot of
there's a lot of technology used up to the draft and in the draft now.
Right, and at some point, and that's how you can almost tell. And you say it a lot during the draft. Oh, that's a magazine pick, which is fine. I get it, but you still have to have your own identity.
Yeah.
And you still have to develop and devise your own plan as a team. You can't just, whatever top 375 people and go by their list.
And people came into this draft, definitely informed, and it played out because everyone was super cautious.
Oh,
no one wanted to start off with that question mark or even care about a hurt guy.
Very little risks, and when the risks were taken, it was later on in the draft for a lot of people, a lot of teams. So I thought that it was a great day, very, very tough.
Some people didn't take risks, and I think in a big league you got to. I'm not saying you got to when the timing is right.
It's all about timing and placement, and you have to take risks. No risk, no reward. But I think they this year managed to stay away from the higher risks, which I think is smart because you don't want one or two different picks to ruin your season.
Yeah, and I think that's what people were worried about. They wanted to get off to a good start, and that it is important to have innings and at-bats, even in a short week. And one thing also that we almost need to factor in is the change in the waiver system, and how is it going to affect people's mentality and strategy, and even to start the season off in this short 2-3 day period, and coming out of the gate and having moves in a few days. It's going to affect them possibly.
Oh, it has to, and you know what? It does change strategy. In the past, you go for 10 people. Not that you should, but sometimes you get a ton of injuries. You'd go for 3 or 4 picks.
Yeah.
Now you may want to.
Who knows?
Strategically.
Everybody's different. You
never know.
I have my opinions about it, but I don't really care. I think it benefits someone like me because I always feel like I don't mind where my order is, but I don't know how I'm going to play it. All I know is most of my roster is healthy. But Sal, do you know, and you and I have been saying this for so many years, okay, the importance of where you are slotted in the draft order. And let me tell you something about this, okay? I had 3 teams come up to me at the end of the draft. And very few people want to admit when I'm right. We know that. And I know when people know I'm right when they don't talk. That's how I know I'm right. When they talk and they comment, they think I'm wrong. But anyway, 2 or 3 teams came up to me and said, oh, you're right. It does matter who's around you.
I mean, no shit.
You know what I mean?
We mentioned it every pre-draft video we done.
Yeah.
And we would say where you are in the draft, who's around you in the draft order. You thought we were just making shit up to say? No, it's a fact. So I'm glad it came to light.
Yeah,
and you deserve credit for that. So.
You know, and out of the 15 teams, you know, the main part of our draft, the most significant part was between 10 and 15, and I only say 10 because 11 and 15. I only say that because team number 11 really felt it the most, and team number 11 was 24 home run, and they felt it because after them was Big Macs, Bierman, Bashes, Team Archer, and Ultimate Price, and then it's got to go back. Ultimate Price, Team Archer, Bierman, and back to them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And a team like 24 home run in the past has had some really lucky slots. And they weren't comfortable. You know what I mean? We'll talk about them later.
We'll get them when we get there, yeah.
We're going to go in draft order, by the way. So, you know, if you have the 15th pick, then you're going to be the last team to talk about it. And, you know, something like that. But, you know, you sat in the 2 spot. Mets was 1. Atima's name was 3. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know based on my notes, but we'll find out if you took advantage of it, in my opinion. I sat in the 5th slot. Paulie was before me. Tony was after me. You know, again, I thought it was a good spot. And Cream Team was 9th. And 8 was Bloody 9, and other guys was 10. And let's see if they took advantage of that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
That 11 through 15 was a brutal stretch. And... You know, the one thing about the draft, and we're going to just talk about one more thing when we get to the teams. I think, I put up a poll the other day, you know, some significant stuff. But to me, the most significant thing in the draft was Chris Donnie and how he holds up the draft. And when closers started going, and he yells out 2 closers, Jose Leclerc and another closer, Felipe Vaz, somebody else, and then he goes Wade Davis. And Wade Davis was available. But for me, that was, one, he brings his computer. He follows the draft with the computer. I give you sheets. Write it down. But if you're going to use your own system, we're not holding up the draft for you because of your system. And in the future, I'm telling everybody right now, if you don't use my system, you're on your own because I'm not waiting for someone that has a program to type these things in.
You know, that's fair, and the computer does slow you down a little bit, and I use a program.
He has an assistant.
And he has an assistant. I have a partner, so I'll say it's the same thing, but don't get yourself flustered.
Yes.
So what I do is, if I fall behind in the draft, as I'm hearing the names, I write them down, because the draft's going to slow down again. Yes. And you always get to catch up.
Always get time to catch up.
Especially when you have somebody else helping you out. So just write the names quickly, keep a sheet of paper. Not saying you have to follow everybody's team, but you just write them down for your mental note. You can put initials or anything, and then you catch up. So that's just a little advice for next year, or any other drafts you may have coming up.
I do the clock. I have to write everybody down. I have to worry about my team. Do I slow the draft up? And I'm not saying I'm good at it.
No, well, we always gave you credit for that.
No,
and everybody knows it's a difficult job.
But I heard in the other drafts he holds the drafts up too. But when he yelled at the 2 closes, it bothered me because it was almost like a hint. You know what I'm saying? He said 3 closer names and put everybody on high alert. Even though they were almost on high alert at that time,
right. But
it put them more on high alert. But anyway, that's all about the draft. I thought it was a great draft. The food was great. Michaela was great. Paulie, the room is great. And let's start talking about this draft. So the first draft pick went to Metropolitans. And the first thing I got to say is, how long did he take to make a decision?
I mean, it's the first pick of the draft. There's 2 guys you were thinking about. Obviously, we know who they were. You don't know ahead of time who you're going to take if it gets to you.
Yeah, aren't you saying if I have the number 1
pick? If I got the number 1 pick, what do I take? And you don't know that a week ago?
Yeah.
It's not like an injury happened that morning. You spoke. I mean, what took you so long?
And I know Rich works in an industry where they're busy, but you know, if life doesn't grant you time to at least relax yourself and get ready. Okay, do what 24 Home Run does and hire someone to, you know, give you a draft order or make your draft for you. Because, you know, I want everyone to enjoy the draft. And the one thing about Richie Stark is, if you ever seen him, I've served him at bars and stuff, and when he's out of work, he's relaxed, he's got his martini, but I don't think he ever really gets comfortable and enjoys the draft because of the season it is. When you're an accountant in tax season, you really can't enjoy it.
You know what? I never thought of it like that. I always thought he was just a nervous drafter.
No.
And a little unorganized, but I guess he is organized, but I'm sure he is because, to do what he does, and he's great at what he does. But so that's a good point. I didn't realize it, and then speaking to him afterwards, I didn't realize how busy he was at the time. So,
but that's not an excuse.
No excuses. There's other things going on, and there's nothing more important than draft day.
I agree with you, but I just wish one day, maybe when he retires, he really could enjoy the moment. But Sal, he took Mike Trout. Okay, he went Mike Trout, Blake Snell, Charlie Blackmon, which, I can't, that top three is ridiculous. And then he comes a little bit early with Madison Bumgarner.
Yep.
Okay. He does the Jose Peraza, Matt Chapman, Luke Voigt.
Yep.
Which I kind of like. I question the Bumgarner. He probably could have got him even later, maybe even 2 rounds later. I'm not sure what people's feelings on Bumgarner were. I based it on I think the team is bad. Okay, and then in the middle, he goes a little Alex Colome, Rougned Odor, Joey Lucchesi, Kenta Maeda, Max Kepler, Justin Smoke. He doesn't do that bad. When I look at his top 11 picks, I see a strong start. Can you argue that Voigt or Bumgarner, he took him too early?
I like the Voigt pick. I'm not really crazy where he got him, but I think he has a ton of upside, and if you want the guy, you get him. I thought Bumgarner was a little too early. What round did he draft Voigt?
7th round.
7th round is probably a little early. Could have waited. It's a 10th, 11th, 12th round guy.
Short sample size. But, Greg Bird is always there.
Yeah, I don't trust Bird, so I can't argue with the Voigt pick.
He's a free agent, but who cares?
No names.
But
he's hurt. I mean, who knows? The Yankees said he's out a week. Knowing the Yankees and their history with Bird, he'll be out about 6 months.
I think from 1 to 11, Richie did well. Okay, we could argue Bumgarner, but if it was a normal year, Bumgarner would go about there. And not for nothing, he's still Bumgarner. He's probably team proof. I mean, no matter what team he plays for, he's probably team proof.
100%.
Luke Voigt, I question, but he falls apart from the 12th pick on.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's from fatigue or disinterest or I gotta go. The drafts, because the drafts do take long and they're methodical and they're frustrating.
But they're hard and it's a long, tiring day. So.
He goes Kepler, which a lot of people are high on because I think people are high on the Twins. I am. He goes Justin Smoke. I think, Justin Smoke had that one good year. 3 months from now, the Blue Jays will be rebuilding. Smoke will be traded. Ketel Marte is a bad pick, but he might get lucky because Souza might be hurt. Therefore, because Marte's playing time was in question. And then we go Corbin Burns, Matthew Boyd, Tyler Skaggs, Cole Calhoun, Shin-Soo Choo, Aaron Sanchez, who are like Francisco Mejia. So I'm not seeing much. I'm seeing a lot of questions. Boyd on a bad team. Skaggs always hurt. Calhoun getting old. Shin-Soo Choo, he could get traded.
Yep.
He's crowded over there. He only DHs right now. What if he goes to a National League team?
Yep.
And then Franchi Cordero, Frankie Montas. Why take Corey Neville? He took Corey Neville with the 24th pick.
That was a wasted pick. As it gets later in the draft, that's where you can make your mistakes. You still want some strong players, but that was clearly a wasted pick.
Do Trout, Snell, and Blackmon waste away on this team?
This is why I'll say no. Because I thought that this was a tough draft, and I think that a lot of the teams are a lot closer than we think. So I'll say they won't get wasted if he makes some moves, but we all know he's not the best manager in season, and he very rarely trades.
Tough to trade with.
So let's see what happens.
He only has one closer, Alex Colome, and there are some teams with not favorable closer situations, but one isn't enough. He doesn't, and I know you took Corey Neville, but come on, dude, the writing's on the wall with Neville, and I don't know why you would do that. I mean, if you take Colome in the 8th round, pair that closer up, I think. But then some people fall they get the trap. I think that this back end of the draft, 12 through 25, is going to be a little too much for a team manager like Richie Stark to overcome.
Okay.
He very rarely does he relax. He's still in his busy season. He might not start getting settled in until end of April. Who knows? Especially with corporate accounts.
He told me he's going to actually... He told me that he's going to get into it after April 15th.
Yeah. There's not a good batting average on this team. What would Aaron Sanchez do? I mean, I liked Aaron Sanchez, but, he has to pay dividends or else forget about it. and Burns and Tyler Boyd and Tyler Skaggs. And then I look at Mejia, Marte, Smoke, Calhoun, Chu, Cordero. They worry me.
Yeah, I mean, it is worrying, but I got to tell you, I look at his team more and more. I put him right in the middle of the pack as far as what he drafted.
Him?
I do. I put his team. He drafted anywhere between the 5th and 8th best team.
But does middle of pack in this draft mean less? Because when we all said and done, we all probably have holes with the exception of a team or two.
Fair enough. Let's see if he has what it takes to manage his way through the year.
I'm going to close it out. Richie's got 250 to 1 odds. I thought he struggled at the end. He's not engaging enough. He doesn't have the greatest business skills, and there's just too much to overcome and to worry about. This team just worries me.
Fair enough.
He don't have a shot.
I think you're a little bit better than that, Richie, but he does the obviously he does the odds making, and you know what, he nails it a lot. So you got to give him credit.
Yeah, I don't always get accurate, but I know when a team has a chance or not. He don't have a chance. So the second team in the draft order was.
I wonder who's that. Oh.
Bistro Smoke is Salvatore Cuculo. Walter Palmer and Salvatore Cuculo, and Sal was in a favorable spot because Richie was back to back, so Richie wasted so many picks. Sal sat in the seat, the catbird seat, whether to take advantage or not. And they went Mookie Betts, Noah Syndergaard, Juan Soto, David Dahl, Jameson Taillon, Corey Seager, Travis Shaw, right, 1 through 7. No one's going to complain about that. Josh Donaldson 8th. People love him. They babied him in spring training. He does get injury prone. And then, bam, 9, Eloy Jimenez. Especially with the contract. He's going to start the season. J.A. Happ, Buster Posey, Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish was one of those guys sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there because of a blister.
I agree. And, coming off of the year that we had with Darvish last year, we were like, oh, I can't do this again with him. But then we're looking, I'm like, it's fucking late in this draft. Excuse my language.
You mean the last year when you traded him to?
Well, we were lucky, and then we also said this year.
You raped Beerman.
Well,
that was last year.
We have Darvish again this year if you want him, Berman.
But you can't.
But I love the value that we got for him at that point.
100%.
Getting him so late, and his upside is he's still Yu Darvish at the end of the year. We got 1 year settled in. Let's see what happens.
It was at a time, the 11th, 12th, 13th round, where people were starting to pick off these little starting pitchers to give them depth.
Right.
Because I know on the rebound, I was hoping to get some, and I let Darvish go for a player. I think whatever, and I kept saying to myself, Darvish, in the hopes I'd come back. If you didn't take him, I think he might have came back. But then, after Yu Darvish, which was your 12th round, okay, you go David Robinson,
yep,
Trey Mancini,
yep,
Jose Alvarado. You gave up on saves a little bit, but you might have salvaged it a little bit. Robinson and Sir Anthony Dominguez, but he has them both. Joey Wendell, who's got flexibility and a little sneaky speed. Jesse Winker, Nick Senzel, who they kind of contradict each other, and now they're talking about playing time. It's a crowded team in Cincinnati, an injury. Chris Taylor, which I did not like, and all the news lately doesn't benefit him. Carlos Rodon, Rich Hill, Alessandro Garcia, Gio Gonzalez. I have to say, 1 through 12, of course, and a lot of people 1 through 10, 1 through 12, they did well. But in your draft position, Sal, between me or from me, you did not take advantage of being near Richie Stark and the team.
I thought we did exactly what we wanted to do. We got Wendell, we got Chris Taylor. I love. He's going to play every day. They're saying
he's not going to play every day.
He's going to play most of the time. Whether it's not just one position. Remember, this is another.
I know, but
triple. He plays anywhere, so he's going to play. He's going to get enough at bats. He's going to have over. Mark my words.
Him and DJ Lemieux are the same. 4 days a week.
He'll have over 520 at bats this year. Mark my words.
Can these super utilities guys have value on a fantasy team?
Why not? If they get 520 at bats,
but they're not going to get. They're talking about super utility is 400, 450 at bats.
I guess we'll have to see, but I like where we got him. I love the area that we got him. Trey Mancini, not in love with his average, but he does a great job. He's going to smack some homers, So I'm happy with the end of our draft. There was one misstep that I thought that we could have improved on, and it was possibly, but it still can come around. And now we can put guys on the injured on the IL right
which was
away,
a smart decision.
Which was fine.
To make a rule for 1 or 2 players as we start.
That's fair. I still think that you had your eye on somebody.
No, I was deciding this from the get-go.
That's fair. But,
I don't do anything. Anyway.
But the one misstep that I thought we took, and it's still not really a misstep because you never know what happens, was the Betances pick.
Well, that was a bad pick, but we'll get to that. So, tell me about your speed. I mean, I think you need speed.
That's a fair assessment. That being said, I think a lot of teams are going to need speed. I think we're going to be middle of the pack in speed, middle of the pack in saves. That's where I put us. Okay. But then if you look at the
average, won't have a 0.
We won't have a 0. We might have between
4 points.
I think it's not middle of the pack. That's lower the pack.
Well,
I'm thinking
middle of the pack.
6 and 8 is what I'm guessing in each of those categories.
You don't.
And we can, the waiver wire is out there, but you'll be surprised to have sneaky speed. And on top of that, we're going to finish with the best. Mark my words. We'll have first place in average.
No, you won't.
We will.
Can you salvage this staff, factoring your saves and Betances? Because when I look at your staff, I say Syndergaard, Talion, and Happ and Darvish. We're fine with that. But Rodon and Gio.
I like Rodon. I think he's going to have a decent year. We'll see if he stays healthy.
I stood away from him.
Obviously, comes to that. I know you stayed away from him. You never liked him.
No, I had him that one time.
And let's see. I think Gio Gonzalez would be called up.
I know, but see, the thing with Gio is like, what's his role going to be when they're healthy?
Well, they have to prove that they're healthy. But, you can never have too much pitching, right? And he's going to get some starts, and we can plug in and out. We don't have to stay with these specific starters. We have what I think is a very, very good 4. You have Syndergaard, Tyon, J.A. Happ, and Darvish. I mean, that's pretty good. I think between Tyon and Syndergaard, you always need two top guys. Yeah, I think those are going to be my great anchors. So I'm very optimistic. This is the best I feel about our pitching. Because Walter and I have always been a heavy offensive team. And that's going to show again this year. But our pitching, this is the best our pitching has been in a long time. I'm excited, but we'll see how it plays out.
But I have a little concern about we talked about Chris Taylor. There's news out there about Winker maybe not being every day. We know they're crowded over there. And then you bring up an Avisail Garcia. Are you concerned that you might have too many, part-time players?
No, I think they're all gonna do well. I think they're all gonna have enough time. And like I said, you have Winker. Once Senzel comes up, he got a little banged up. He'll be all right. He'll be up by the end of April anyway. I think Winker, and he's gonna get off to a hot start.
I liked the Winker coming into the year. I did. So I wanted him.
Yeah. So I think that, and you got to take into account where we got him in the draft. So we didn't reach for anybody, which I was so happy about, because in the past we want a guy, we're gonna reach for him. I can name countless names when we overreached for Sanchez and it came back to bite us. When we overreached, there's other names, but we did not, and we went into it with a plan. We did not overreach. If anything, I thought we got guys at incredible value. I mean, we got a catcher that's not going to catch.
But he's on the downswing. They're already talking about.
You can't be 31 and be on the downswing. He's going to play first base.
Direction. I love Posey, but I just think the makeup of the team and his age is an issue. Now, they've already said that he ain't going to play 130 games anymore. But he's still a great player. They just don't have a lot around him. But what if...
Since when is 31 years old?
Okay. What if... That's fine. I'm not going to...
Especially now that he's not going to deal with the wear and tear of being a catcher.
I just don't think you're going to see 20, 85 out of him.
That being said, we got him in the 11th round. He's going to hit 300.
Of course. People were weird with catches in the draft. You know what I mean?
They were.
I got Contreras in the 11th. I was happy to get a top 5 catcher in the 11th round. Rated top 5 catcher.
One of the players that we didn't get, which we really wanted to pair up with Posey, was Jansen.
I love Jansen.
And Ultimate Price got him. So
we'll talk about
that's
Ultimate
one of the things.
Price
We'll get there. Yeah,
but what if Leo Jimenez struggles? And why'd you take him before Vlad? Because of the injury?
I thought for years he's better than Vlad. Vlad got all the hype.
No, well, they're both great.
This reminds me of the Harper Trout thing. Everybody was on Harper.
The media.
The media, which is fine. And Vlad, he got his father, this and that. Jimenez is going to be better. That's my take on it. So that's why we went for him first. And he got the contract, so he was going to start right away. They were just posturing, saying, we don't know if we're going to bring him up right away. We gave him the $43 million. Bullshit. You don't spend money and then not bring him up. That's why you keep him down. But so...
All right,
I don't see it happening.
I'll close out the team.
Yes, I want to see what you gave Walter.
I think Buso Smokers are going to struggle with this pitching staff all season. I I'm not as excited about what he thinks in batting average, and they don't have speed. But one thing about Sal and Walter is just like last year when they pawned off Darvish and got a better part of the deal, is they're going to work it and they're going to try to play the game and improve it. But when it's all said and done, this is a 125-1 team. I do not think they took advantage of this slot, and I think it's going to be a struggle for most of the season. All right?
Fair enough.
Okay. That's all. But, I wish you good luck.
No, you don't. Don't lie to me. You do not wish me good luck.
Anyway, let's talk about the third team. A team has no name. Leo Tekiel and Jared Tekiel. And right away they get a scare with Jose Ramirez.
Oh, man. Let me
tell you.
You know
what I mean? And it ain't over yet.
It's still not over yet.
Because even Upton, these misdiagnosed, combined with the beginning of the season, people don't take chances. But Jose Ramirez is probably fine.
I'm so happy that we did not get the third pick. You always want a high pick. As it was coming down, because we were going to take Jose Ramirez with the third pick. Possibly.
I was taking Trey Turner no matter what. Number 3, I take Turner.
I take that back because I was very high on Jose Ramirez. Walter, not so much. So
what did he want?
We would have had to make it. It doesn't matter.
Scherzer, Turner,
mark our words, we'll never take a pitcher first round.
Yeah.
All right. So
there was too many good arms that we're not taking the first round.
There was enough, but so we're happy on that. And then to hear that I was watching the game. It looked bad. I guess it looked worse than it is. And in hindsight, they took him off on a cart, precautionary, because he was like, my knee, whatever, just stay there. He would try to get up, stay there. We're not even going to play with it. Yeah. And that was a good job by them.
We got the woo. We didn't get the who.
And you know what? Let's see. An injury like this, maybe he didn't break anything, but maybe he doesn't run for a month. Maybe it takes him a little while to get back.
Well, that could also, affect that whole team in January, especially with Lindor. But we don't have to talk about those specific players. So a team has no name. Which, by the way, it's always great to see Leo. It's always great to see Jared. And Jared is so excited at these drafts.
Team now has a Jared.
Well, he's been here a couple of years in a row, and I love seeing Jared, and I love his intensity with these drafts.
Oh, he's great.
But they go Jose Ramirez, Trevor Bauer, Chris Davis, Mike Clevenger, 3 Indians in the first 4 picks. Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, Lorenzo Cain, who I thought in the 7th round was a great pick, especially with speed. He shouldn't have been. He was laying in the weeds, Lorenzo Cain. Then Ken Giles, 8th pick. Forget Giles. He sucks. He plays on a bad team. Will Smith. So they let the closers go. Did they salvage it? If Giles has a great year, because I actually like Will Smith, Joey Gallo. Why do people keep drafting Joey Gallo? Paul DeJong, Adam Eaton, John Gray.
Paul DeJong, a little sneaky pick. I like that there. Let's see if he has a bounce back after the injury last year.
This team,
I kind of like that pick.
This team, and this is usually what the issue I have with Jared Leo is. This team bores the hell out of me. There's no excitement level with this team. Jake Arrieta, Cesar Hernandez. How many times are you going to draft Cesar Hernandez? He stinks.
Yeah, he's bad.
Everybody thinks he's going to steal 50 bases. Jackie Bradley, Steven Matz, Steven Souza, who's hurt already, Kevin Gausman, Michael Givens. There's no the Royals, the Orioles might win 50 games. Might. So out of the 50 wins, how many of them are going to be save opportunities?
Good point. You also have to remember, and this goes back to what you were saying. He didn't have it easy in the draft position because I picked right before him half the time.
And then MVP,
I kind of jammed him up a little bit.
Yeah, and I also think that we always talked about father-son, but this ain't their first draft with us, so they've overcome that. I know they enjoy the moment, but I think they want to compete.
They definitely do.
Leo, I know Jared has fun, but Leo is a competitor. Now, they also go, Dakota Hudson. I like this Shohei Ohtani pick. They took Shohei in the 22nd round. And, the high teens, early 20s were when people started taking gambles, and I think that's when people should have took gambles. I like the Alex Verdugo pick because I hate Jock Peterson. I don't see enough power on their team.
Okay.
And I see probably a last place finish in average. What if, like we pointed out with Ramirez, he's a big boy, and I know he stole more bases last year in a year. That's not him. He's not a 30 steal guy.
And
you know what I mean?
Donnie had mentioned this to me earlier. He goes, the Indians are a jinx team this year. And then he said it, and then right out the gate, boom, it almost looks like Jose Ramirez is out. And they have a ton of injuries on that team. And one little slump, they can all go into a slump. And it's almost like a team depression. And it doesn't stand good for anybody on that team.
By default, okay, when you have a division with the Royals and the Tigers in it, that's why I love the Twins so much, because the Twins have the best lineup in that division. But the pitching staff, by default, the only reason why people love the Indians is because they're sick pitching staff. But that pitching staff doesn't have the bullpen no more. Okay, so that's why I love the Twins. And I don't know why he went so many Indians. And there's this offense overall, I think, personally speaking, they have the worst offense of the league. And then, Trevor Bauer's your anchor. They went Bauer, Clevenger. Now, Bauer did it last year, but he's been mental the year before. Is Bauer going to repeat? Do you have faith in Bauer? Because the magazines and the books, they had him high.
I like Bauer. I think he's going to have a good year. He was touted a few years ago as one of the biggest up-and-coming pitchers. There's no reason why he shouldn't have put it together. Sometimes it takes a couple years for a great pitcher to put it together. So
he does these weird
it's possible.
It's
still a guy that I wasn't so high on. So, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but you can't argue that he's a good pitcher.
The bullpen scares me. John Gray too. Isn't it time to give up on John Gray?
Well, that and mixed with the Colorado thing.
I don't know if the Colorado thing, because there's other ballparks, Cincinnati. There's small ballparks now. So as bad as the air is in Colorado, there's other ballparks now that, So I just think that I'm ready to give up on John Gray.
I think Gray has potential. I wouldn't give up on him yet.
And what about Steven Matz and Jake Arrieta?
Because then when he breaks out, if somebody like a Gray breaks out, you're gonna say, "Oh, that was luck." No, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just you got to get it. You do have to have a lucky year when they break out. You can't. Nobody knows exactly when this person's gonna break out, but I think he has potential.
And then the Givens-Giles combination. So, I personally speaking, I hate this team. I really do. And Leo texted me the other day, and he's like, any hints on what we're going to say about them in the video, what I'm going to say? And I said, nah, I can't.
My initial instinct when I was looking at the teams is that Leo and Jared drafted the second or third worst team.
I think it's one of the worst teams. As a matter of fact, I think I gave him my worst odds, 400.
And after reevaluating it and really diving in, I still stick to that.
Yeah, and what even makes it worse is Sal was between Mets and arguably the worst team drafted, and he still didn't take advantage of it. So 401 for Leo and Jared. It's going to be a frustrating season. This offense will not support the staff, which is full of players we can't expect too much from. So, sorry Leo, sorry Jared, but it's going to be a long year for you.
I agree, but it'll be fun.
Well, maybe, who knows? I've been wrong before. So the fourth draft slot was MVP Paul Scavello. And he wore the gray jumpsuit. The gray jumpsuit.
Right away.
Yeah, and he was sweating. Did you see the sweaty armpits?
And
I think he got mad at me when I brought it up.
Oh, yeah. He
but you know what? Not for nothing. When I bring you up to stand up to the room, go like this.
Yeah.
Show everybody.
It doesn't matter.
Don't be insecure.
But you know what happened? He was so hot sweating, and then he put on the sweater because you got in his head.
Does he have hair plugs, Paulie?
I don't think he has enough hair to have.
I want to know if he has hair plugs. Because he didn't raise his armpits. And those are signs of insecurity.
That's great.
Because he has grown more hair lately. I'm going to ask him. Paulie, don't get mad. I don't want to hear it.
That's funny.
What a businessman. How many vodkas did you get charged for?
Let me tell you. One fucking buyback, Paulie? Come on.
How small are those rocks? Look at these rocks glasses, Sal.
This is a rocks glass.
This is a rocks glass.
You got these rocks glasses. It's like a shot. You were giving me 1 ounce pours. That's why I got to order 9 of them. Well, what the hell? Can I get a buyback? One buy, hey, Sal, here, have a cocktail. And
I told him how much I love the Peniel, and you know what he says to me? Oh, now you got to come by and buy some. What a businessman.
Very, very shrewd. But God bless him. He does a good job down there. I loved it.
That
the food was
Peniel,
great. It was delicious.
Michaela's suggestion, that Peniel was unreal.
It was great.
And the room was great. I would call the electrician up and the contractor to get some more some more outlets in that room. Paulie had the 4th pick, which I started to get worried because I wanted Trey Turner coming into the draft. I would have took Turner as high as 3, to my opinion. Paulie had 4, okay? And what Paulie did was he went J.D. Martinez, Giancarlo Stanton, Bam Bam, okay? Carlos Carrasco, James Paxton, he loves Yankees. You go into Paulie's office, there's Yankees everywhere. Victor Robles, who could lead the league in steals. People are all on top. A great pick. Blake Treinen. You know, I know Blake Treinen had his Dennis Eckersley type year, but let's not forget how bad he was before last year.
And I thought that was a little early at that point.
Yeah, Jonathan Villar, who's probably the only maybe 1 or 2 Orioles to have. But everybody, one thing about having a Villar on a team like that is he might play well because they have nobody else. So they run him. If Villar could run, then he has value. I thought it might have been a little bit early. Josh Hader, 8 pick. Now, I like the Hader pick because at that time, you know, closers were going, and I just think that everybody thinks Kimbrel's going to sign with Milwaukee, and I don't see it. Milwaukee's a low-budget team. They have excess arms, you know, Davies and Bonds and Burns and Woodruff, and they're not the type of team that's going to go sign a Kimbrel just to give him what he wants. They're going to sign Kimbrel if he takes what they want. They would have gave Kimbrel a 1-year contract. So I love Hader.
You know, the reason why I don't mind that pick, Hader, at that position.
He's a great pick.
He's a great pitcher. He even if he doesn't keep the closer job, he's still fine because he's going to get as many strikeouts as most pitchers that were available. Yeah. His ERA is going to be better than them, and his ratio is going to be better than them. So at that point in the draft, I thought that was a great pick.
Then he goes Justin Turner, and I was right there because I was next, and I was about to take Turner.
You know, Turner's reliable.
9th round.
You know, 300 hitter, 290 hitter, whatever it is.
He really would have solidified.
It was a really nice time.
Jonathan Scoop, who I think's rebounding because I love the Twins. That's a 1 through 10. And then this is where I think Paulie loses it. Okay, we always say Paulie is so loyal. Like we wrote down, you wrote down, but even before we write down, we always talk about guys that are going to end up on Paulie's team.
Yep.
We thought Kershaw would end up on his team. We knew a couple of Yankees, probably Severino. You know what I mean? There's certain guys you know is going to end up on his team.
I knew Stanton was going to be on his team.
Yeah. He takes Byron Buxton. Okay, now look, everybody's. I'm done with Buxton, but eventually he's going to have a good year.
Right.
The problem with Paulie is he's not the best manager. Okay. He's not the best manager around. You know what I mean? And then if you look at the back end of this draft, Byron Buxton, Brandon Nimmo, Aaron Hicks, another Yankee hurt, Julio Urias, Jacob Junish, Josh Bell, Cedric Mullins.
I don't like any of them. I mean, I
like the Mullins.
I like the sneaky speed of Mullins. That's it.
Okay.
You know, but
Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill deserves to play more, but the Cardinals are so crowded. Zach Eflin, Justin Bohr, Lewis Brinson. Brinson. You know, Omar Narvaez
on a normal year on a good team, I like Brinson, but he's gonna get lost in that. He's probably their only shining star on that offense, but there's nothing around him. They're gonna pitch around him every time if possible. You know, when it's possible. So I just don't like it.
I think Paulie's top 10 might buy Paulie time, but the problem with buying time is it's Paulie. You know what I mean? He's not the most skilled. And what if Buxton has another stupid, disappointing season? You know what I mean?
I'm not a big fan of this team. I thought my initial reaction, I thought he did well. And then the more I kept on marinating, I don't like the Justin Bohr pick. You know, I don't like a lot. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, there's a lot of the back end I'm not a big fan of.
I tell you what I don't like about the Justin Bohr pick. I don't like it because when they're healthy and Ohtani comes back, what are you doing between first and DH? You got Pujols there. He gets $30 million, whatever the fuck he gets.
And I think after evaluating it, he drafted the 4th or 5th worst team.
What about like his Julio Urias pick? You know what I mean? This is Paulie's MO. Like Urias may have value now, but what about later?
Good point.
You know what I mean? And Aaron Hicks.
Short-term goals. Yep.
You know, and why Tyler O'Neill, Lewis Brinson, Diego Castillo?
That's bad.
You know what I mean?
I don't like. I mean, Diego Castillo got to face the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox.
And that's
60 games a year that they're gonna have to play each other, and how many times he's gonna pitch against them? He's gonna get his tits lit.
And what about James Paxton? I mean, when was the last time he pitched over 160?
That's another good point. Let's see if
know
he
what I
stays
mean?
healthy. Yeah, but he's on the Yankees, so of course Paulie was going to go.
And
for
then
him.
what about Jake Junis? I mean, I didn't want any Royal pitcher.
I didn't mind Junis. I think there's upside there, so I kind of like that pick.
It's a bad team, but one thing I would say about the Royals is they're going to run amok. And Paulie, the main thing about Paulie's team, Josh Bell, Jonathan Villar, Jonathan Scoop, Justin Turner, Brandon Crawford, Justin Bohr. That's his infield. That doesn't do it.
That's not a championship infield.
Paulie needs, if Paulie doesn't get Scoop to rebound, right? If he doesn't get Crawford to have a good year, and if Buxton does what he's been doing, even though I have a feeling about him, because, the law of averages.
I kind of like Buxton coming into the year. Obviously not in the third round.
There's too much for this roster to ask for, even with J.D. Martinez, Giancarlo Stanton, and Victor Robles.
That's two anchors though. There's that's a lot of home runs between two guys.
And he won't trade him.
No, forget it. He's gonna want for him.
And he won't forget about it. He'd want.
I want Max Scherzer, DeGrom, Jacob DeGrom, and you got to throw in Trout.
You'd have to give him the Surf Club, VIP, Green Tree for Scavello's on the island. That's what you'd have to do. Initially, I gave him 151 odds, but the more we talk, this is a 250 to 1 odd team. Paul Scavello and his suspected hair plugs don't have a chance. Start looking in the mirror. What? Anyway, now the 5th team, the Bean team, the 5th pick, and the one thing I would have to say is that I was happy with the 5th slot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'd rather have a little bit more, but I wanted Trey Turner, so I was a little concerned. But, I started off with Trey Turner, Aaron Nola, Alberto Mondesi, who I really wanted, Daniel Murphy, who in Colorado, forget about it, Miguel Andujar. They all gave me crap when Tony yelled at Suarez first when he didn't go. I took Andujar. Brad Hand, Herman Marquez. So I go Nola Marquez, Hunter Strickland, right? Those are my 8 picks. I think I'm fine. Do you have a problem with that?
No, like I said earlier, I thought you reached on Andujar, but if you liked him,
but why would you reach on Andujar? You don't think the third baseman's and Andujar was kind of like in that same ballpark?
It was right around it. I thought it was 3 or 4 rounds off, but that was just a personal
3 or 4
thing.
rounds?
But you can't knock it. You can't knock the 8. I mean, just like you can't knock most people's top 8 picks.
You can't knock the doubles and the home runs he had as a rookie. And then, sitting in the weeds, the 9th pick, because it was Vladimir Guerrero. Now, I took him. I wasn't going to take Guerrero before the draft because, he was supposed to go late 3rd, early 4th. But because of how the draft dictated it, and because I felt I needed a hitter, I was like, I'm not going to play this cautious, scared game because, I will take risks, and sometimes risks pay off. I'm going to take Guerrero. And I took Guerrero in the 9th spot, that was great because unlike some people, I know what's going on in baseball. I know the difference between free agent years and Super 2s and the minor league season and all that. So Guerrero was supposed to be healthy or around healthy before the minor league season even starts.
He's going to be healthy. I don't think it's health is an issue.
Obliques with an overweight person worries me.
That's fair, but I think he's on schedule and he wasn't going to get called up right away anyway, so it really didn't matter.
I was going infield, so I let outfield go. My mistake, I think, might have been not taking Lorenzo Cain. I took Herman Marquez instead. I did want to pair Nola with another anchor. I think you got to pair anchors up.
That's 100%. I like the Daniel Murphy pick, the Mondesi. I do like Andujar, even though you thought you got him early, but it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. I like the Turner pick, of course. How can you not? McNeil, I think this is all reputable so far. Brantley, you got to love him. Laureano, we'll see what happens. He's kind of shaky, but he has some speed.
Laureano was a
he can have another big year. He's up and coming still. Pinder, I don't know what you're going to do with him. The one thing I'll say about this team, and how do you feel about it? I don't think you have one guy on your team that's 100 ribbies or one guy that's going to hit 30 home runs. I
disagree.
I think you have a ton of speed. You're gonna finish mid to a slightly above average in average, and I see you finishing 7th or 8th place.
Okay, well, I'm going to still talk about my team a little bit longer, and then I hope you come with better questions than that. I disagree.
Jake Bowers,
hold on a second.
200?
Let me talk about my
Jorge
team.
Soler? Come on.
Well, anyway, you're talking about guys they drafted in the teams, early 20s. So, I mean, Andujar was 27 and 92 last year. What was he, 27.85 as a rookie?
When we expected him to break out? Yeah.
So you don't think he's 3,100? Michael Brantley, 4th on the Stros. Nomar Mazara. Okay.
Let's see if Brantley can stay healthy a full year.
Nomar Mazara, I thought people dropped the ball on him. Now, I kind of let outfield go a little bit because I wanted to concentrate on infield. Now, Murphy in Colorado, if he's healthy, everything's based on health, is going to have 100 RBIs and 25.
Hunter Strickland is not going to keep that job all year.
Why not?
Because I think he's going to start giving up bombs again. I'm not
he
a big
plays in a
Hunter
big
Strickland
ballpark.
fan. Yeah.
Well, but is he my only closer?
I don't like.
Who's my other closer?
I don't like Michael Waka. I do like Joe.
You don't like Michael Waka in the 16th round?
I'm not a big
You don't like
Waka
the Cardinals?
fan. I love the Cardinals. I don't love.
Okay.
I don't love.
See,
Waka
I love the
this year.
Cardinals. Brad Hand, you don't like him?
Eh.
I don't think you could say anything in my top 12 picks, and then I come back with Chris Paddock. Now, let's go to 14.
That's another pick I like. I do like the Paddock.
You don't think, well, there's going to be innings issues. You don't think people will wanted Austin Meadows or Ramon Laureano?
To a point, but they're not game changers to the point on they're going to get lost in your team.
I disagree with you.
I think you need a ton of help.
Now, let's go back to 17. Now, Matt Olson, sitting in the 17th pick. Now, I know he had an injury. Now, obviously, coming into the draft, there was
I think he wanted Matt Olson, and that's why we changed the rule this year.
I did want Matt Olson going into the draft, but I did not do that. What I said was, there's no reason to change it. Plus, the A's and the Mariners were not affected by the rule. They played a regular season game, and we did this for Kershaw years ago. Right. If you played in a regular season game and you drafted a guy, you have every right to put him on a DL. Anyway, Matt Olson, this is round 17. Matt Olson, Jorge Soler, in the middle of that Royal lineup, and I hate the Royals. Jake Bauers, okay. Jeff McNeil, come on.
I like McNeil.
Is he losing the third base job?
No, and he's going to play every day. I like that pick.
What's wrong with Trevor Riches other than the fact he's a Marlin?
What I'll say is, you have guys that look good, and your team might look fancy. Like I said, you're going to finish last place in home runs.
Why?
You're going to finish.
Why would I play last place in home runs? Because I don't have Judge or JD Martinez.
You don't have enough of the 20 to 20.
Why not?
25.
Brantley ain't 20.
He could be.
Is Mazara 20?
15. Well, we'll find out.
Why? He always does 20.
We'll see if he gets 20. We'll see if he gets 20. He can get 25.
Murphy's not 20.
The other guy is Jorge Soler is 20.
If he plays every day, yeah.
Come on. If he plays every day, you got a lot of ifs. Let's see what else.
But my back end of the draft is a lot better than other back end of the draft. Why? Pinda's going to play with the injuries.
I disagree.
But that's one of my last picks, Chad Pinda. What about Hellickson? He's lights out.
I mean, McNeil's he's not going to smack homers. He's going to hit 280. He's going to be a fair. He's a good.
I'll say something that he said before. Nobody beats me in batting average. Nobody.
Well, we're going to have a side wager later. I might have to bet you 9 drinks at Paulie's place.
One thing I do love about
or 1 drink here.
Yeah, no, Paulie's drinks are too small. One thing I will give myself credit for is that I thought my early section, my middle section, and my last section was solid. Some people, their last 10 picks were horrible. Also, I'm not coming into the season with injuries in my active roster. Every single one of my starters is pitching in the first 3 days. I have 2 closers, and all my players are playing. Okay, on the back burner, I get to put Olsen on DL. Wait a couple of months. I get Vladdy. I don't get to put him on DL, but I get him. Okay, and now I'm okay. You know what I mean? So, and you can't argue with Mondesi Turner.
I don't like. I mean, who
Murphy in Colorado.
You have Nola.
Does Wilson Contreras rebound?
Who's your second best pitcher?
Herman Marquez.
I love him.
You don't like his? How many Ks did he have last year?
He's not the second ace that you needed. You needed somebody better.
There's not many people that have better combos than Nola Marquez.
The overall on your team for your pitching, you're going to struggle all year.
Okay.
And you're going to. You don't have. You have your strength of speed, and you're not going to finish with the best speed.
No, well, it depends on
that's your strength.
What if Meadows? It's not my strength.
That's your strength.
I didn't add to it. I didn't get the Kane. I didn't get the NCRT. I didn't get the Hamilton. I don't want Hamilton because he'd hurt you if you don't steal. But Meadows and Laureano. I mean, have you ever seen their minor league numbers and what style of player they are? Why they can't get 40 between them? 20-20?
Can they? You said Buxton was going to get 60 last year.
Well, okay, fine, but we're talking about the teams. We're talking about.
Yeah, but this is what makes me confident that it's not going to happen because the guys that you reach for all the time, half of them are not going to.
That's not a reach. Meadows in the 14, Laureano in the 15 is not a reach.
I thought it was a little high.
No, then people wouldn't have said great pick.
Chris Paddock. You said that.
Chris Paddock?
You said great pick. I like Chris Paddock.
I don't know. I think that
Where are you going to finish? I need to know your odds right away.
I have a professional outfield. Okay, Brantley, Nomar, Meadows, and Laureano. They're professional. Okay? Now, my infield is ridiculous. Contreras, Murphy, Mondesi, Turner, Andujar, McNeil. Now, you want to say Bowers, fine, but when Bowers goes, if he doesn't play well, I put Vladdy in that spot. Okay? And the first 4 teams had bad odds. Okay, now I'm not the favorite, but I'm the 8-1 contender.
Wow.
I like my team solely based on the consistency of the draft, the health of my team, and not as many question marks as other teams have. And I will say this. If Chris Paddock is the real deal, and Michael Walker does what he's supposed to do, because he has a good year last year, even though he only played 50 games on that team, this team is a dangerous team.
Can I tell you something?
Do I need power? Fine. I got Guerrero coming.
Can I tell you something? Your odds making for your team is as crooked as your hat was on draft day.
I did that on purpose on draft day.
No, you were drinking bourbon. I thought I was drinking the whole day. You started at like 7:43. I said, wow, you were going in, and then by the third round, the hat said,
We did 5 teams, and without a doubt, I'm 8-1.
All right.
I'm 8-1. Is that the favorite? Who knows? I can't say if it is or if it isn't. I can't say what choice it is because we got 10 more
won't
teams
finish
to go.
above 7th place.
Well, okay. That's fine. I mean, I gave it to you. You got to give it to me. So we'll see what happens. The number 16 was Tony's Tigers, Anthony Palumbo. And Anthony Palumbo fell into that trap of, should I take Max Scherzer with the first pick? Okay?
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying it's a trap, but, not since the days of like Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez, because they often would go number 1 overall, did I see like a pitcher ranked that high? Because I wouldn't have taken Scherzer over a 5-tool player.
I don't think any pitcher is worth a first-round pick, but that's just my theory.
Would you have taken Scherzer over Acuna, Aaron Judge,
No.
J.D. Martinez?
No.
You know what I mean? Trey Turner.
No.
Okay, so now the 6th pick was a tough pick because I think he might have had his eyes on like a Trey Turner.
But Tony, odds are he could have took him with the 4th pick. I have a feeling Tony was going pitcher no matter what.
Because he goes Scherzer and then he falls in the trap, Corey Kluber.
Right.
He goes Scherzer, Kluber, Merrifield. He took Merrifield if I took Mondesi.
I'm high on Merrifield.
We all are.
We all are. Why wouldn't you be?
Gary Sanchez, Eugenio Suarez, Marcelo Osuna, Roberto Osuna. I actually love his top 7. I was high on Osuna. I wanted Roberto
and
Osuna.
Sanchez, let's see if he can actually have a bounce back year. We all know that he struggled last year, but we all know his potential. So if he hits his potential, he's a 2nd and 3rd round guy. And when did they get him? In the 4th?
Who?
Sanchez?
4th round.
4th round. So it was a little high, but
I like the thought process behind it because when I was coming into the draft, I said to myself, I want to get a top-rated catcher.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying my catcher's going to do well.
Right.
But I had some Alfaro and Johnson in the background, but I wanted to get a good catcher.
Yep. That was
I mean?
I agree. I had the same strategy.
And I think he wanted to too. And everybody loves Sanchez on the rebound, and I do too. We all.
How could you not? I mean.
And then he goes Rafael Devers, who everybody thinks is going to rebound. Hopefully he does. He goes Andrew McCutchen in the 9th round.
And you know what? I'm not as high on
Devers
as everybody else is.
Me neither.
I still think he's a little bit too young. He's going to be an incredible player one day.
I don't know.
think
His
this
swing,
is the year.
his approach at the plate.
He's a couple years off. This is not his year. They're rushing him. They're rushing him.
A lot of pressure when you become a Red Sox. Michael Fulton Everson in the 10th round. Now again, we talked about players coming into the draft being hurt. Fulton Average was a guy that I think everybody wanted before he got hurt. I loved the Braves before he got hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's coming back right away. So I don't even really consider him hurt. Ahmad Rosario is another guy too. I think people are high on him to take the next step. That's 1 through 11. Then we go Miguel Sano. Why?
Again, that's a pick that a lot of people like Sano and some people don't. It all depends on.
He is so frustrated. I would never want him anywhere near my team. He did pick Marlon Gonzalez later on, so I understand that. Then he goes Garrett Hampson, who we don't know. I actually think McMahon takes that spot and Hampson does whatever. But Hampson has the ability to steal. Randall Grichuk, Hunter Renfroe, Sonny Gray, Alex Wood, Marwin Gonzalez, Forrest Whitley.
I think we're falling into this trap because on an individual basis, and you're looking at them, it doesn't look that great. And I remember even at the draft,
roster doesn't look that good.
But when I'm looking at his team and on his roster, I like it. I think that he drafted one of the best teams in the league. I think it's going to show. I really do. Tony did a great job, but we all know that you're going to let it fall apart because you're not going to make moves. You're going to forget to make moves. You're going to do this. Your in-season management is horrible.
These are the worst.
And let's see if he
gets
some trades.
Lost. I think 12-19 in his draft was just, it worries the hell out of me. Gregory Polanco was a guy
he does have a good pitch, and I love Polanco.
Brad Boxberger, Alex Cobb. You don't want any Oriole. Zach Golly, Nick Kingham, Abapoulos. Tony, two things about Tony. He doesn't have the stamina for the draft.
No.
He doesn't have the stamina for the season. If he gets off to a bad start, he disappears. Okay? And it's fatigue. He'll start to show disinterest. And all signs point to this happening again. I can't find a bright spot, not one positive thing between picks 12 to 25. So many wasted picks.
Right.
What if Devers doesn't come back? Doesn't have a good year?
I still think he'll have a decent year, just not the year that everybody expects out of him.
And Sanchez, the same thing.
But that's it. And that's the thing. Coming in with question marks, you kind of want to avoid that in a season, in a 15-team league, and he has a ton of question marks, but the upside is there. So if Sanchez actually starts to produce, I love Merrifield, I love the Suarez, I love Rosario. I think he could smack 15 to 20 home runs.
That's a lot.
And steal 30 bases.
You're a Met fan. That's
I'm a Met fan. The Marwin Gonzalez deal. How could you not like Grichuk? I mean, I kind of like
How
this
can you
team.
not like Grichuk?
I like Grichuk, and then Hampson.
Yeah, but we don't even know his role.
But he's going to steal
because
bases.
the magazine said how much they were high on Hampson?
But he's a late round. When did he get Hampson?
No, he got Hampson early, 13th round. Weren't you high on Hampson earlier on? And then first of all, McMahon was a higher prospect in the minors.
Right.
Okay, but weren't you more high on Hampson before McMahon started having a great spring?
Yes.
And then they started, really battling. And then you look at this pitching staff: Sonny Gray, Alex Wood is hurt, Kingham, Alex Cobb, Zach Godley. I mean, that's brutal.
I like Zach Godley. He's going to
strike out a ton of people. Team?
You know what? I like Zach Godley. He's going to do. I think this could be a year that he breaks out. He has ace potential, and how could you knock it?
Godley has ace potential.
Godley has
that division against the Dodgers.
Godley has
and the Rockies
ace potential.
And the Padres.
You remember I said he's going to strike out well over 150 people. Let's see if he can keep his whip down.
And if Hampson doesn't play, his only other speed is Rosario. You know what I mean? So, to complete his team, this is a bad team. Okay? And Tony will be out of it by June, if not earlier. I didn't expect much from Tony anyway.
I disagree, Tony. I think you have a good team. You have a chance. You're not going to contend because you'll find a way to screw it up.
Brad Boxberger?
But I like your team better than my partner's team over here.
He's going to be challenging Jared and Leo for last place.
Okay. What are the odds, though? I want to know the odds.
500 to 1.
500 to 1.
Horrible team. Horrible team. All right, let's talk about the seventh team in the draft order, the Bombers. And this is Joe Bean. And one thing that was funny, because you remember how we all entered the location and entered the room, and everybody's trying to sort themselves out. I mean, everyone stood away from Joe Bean's table.
There was 3 teams at a table. Not really, but there was.
But they like 2 teams.
But they always play.
Yeah, 3 people.
But and I got to tell you, he sat right in front of us.
Is it fun to sit there, Joey?
No, I like Joe. Got no problem with him. First of all, Walter and I are in our zone. I did push the table up a little bit as because you start to lean and the table starts to slide. But
yeah, they were light tables.
We're talking, we're whispering, and he angles himself.
Yeah, he
like
does.
this.
Could you see his computer?
And he's like this. No, I couldn't see his
I thought
computer.
you could see his computer.
No, I wasn't even paying attention to that. But
Don't get off camera.
He angles himself. I'm just showing you what he does, and he's like this. And we're talking as early as the 6th and 7th round. He starts asking, "Is this guy taken? Is this guy available? Who's this? Is this guy out?" Now, all I gave him was a yes or no answer. If I knew, there were a couple times that I wasn't 100%, and I didn't want to give him false information, which I could have.
Be asking anyway.
Because you know what? There was 2 guys that he asked me about that I was aiming for, and the minute I told him no, he's available, he took them. So it was like, it is what it is, and I'm not a jerk. So I'll help you out as far as that. I'm not going to give you strategy or throw names of guys that aren't taken, but it's a lot. Get focused, Joe.
Joey, I thought he had a 7 pick. 7 pick is a nice pick. It really is.
You always like the middle because you don't wait too long in each way.
You might lose out of a player or two, but he opens up with Kristen Yelich and Andrew Benintendi. And I tell you right now, I wanted Andrew Benintendi so bad.
I love that.
Because I was looking to go Turner, Benintendi, Blake Snell. That was my goal.
Got it.
Okay? I didn't expect Joey of all people, because now we're going down with Benintendi.
Yeah.
He's got the 7th pick. I got the 5th pick. There's a chance Benintendi would have got to me. I didn't expect Joey to yell him out.
You know what? Joey did a good job in his team. He shocked me with a ton of his picks. You gotta love this infield.
Well, he goes Anthony Rizzo, George Springer.
I love Rizzo.
Edwin Diaz,
I love Springer.
Cano, Sean Doolittle, Yasmani going down. So Joey, you can see he's got a plan. Let me get infield. Let me get hitters. Let me get the closers. We don't need super duper pitches.
Right.
You know what I mean? His first pitch is Charlie Morton. Now, everyone wants to. I like Charlie Morton, and he's proven in a couple of years. He goes from the Astros to the Rays. That's a good team to a good team.
Right.
The Rays are good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? As Drupal Cabrera, flexibility in Texas. He's a little old, but he's a little underrated as Drupal Cabrera. Eric Hosmer hitting in front of Mercado. I don't like Nathan Eovaldi. I really don't. I think that his career was too injury prone and inconsistent. But I can't argue. 13th, Elvis Andrus. I love this 13th round pick.
Great pick. That was one of the guys. Is Andrews taken?
Yep.
No, he's out there, Joe. He's not
that's
taken.
what I mean. I would not open my mouth if someone asked me that.
Right.
Now, Torch asks me that. You know what I mean? All the time. Is this guy taken? Is this guy available? And it's Torch because it sits at the table. But believe me, all owners would prefer that you didn't ask. Now, I love Joey's top 7 picks. Okay? Even a couple sprinkled in between 8 and 16. Mainly Elvis Andrus. I think Joey had a plan. He stuck to it. But if he also continues to ask other owners who is or isn't available, this concerns me. Now, there's a good chance Joey only makes 1 trade this year. You know what I mean?
He's going to do nothing all year.
Well, nothing all year.
His waiver wire picks are going to, unless he gets lucky again, but he doesn't have the chance to do that again. And he's going to have, the magazines can't help him out because we all know he doesn't know who to pick ahead of time. He waits till the news comes out and then gets them. And he's gonna be he's the most difficult person to trade with.
He picks 17 to 25. Kyle Gibson, Ryan Yarbrough, Scott Schebler, who gets lucky with some injuries, Annabelle Sanchez, Troy Tulowitzki, Orlando Arcia, Kyle Tucker, Derek Holland, Adam Engel. There's nothing to like from 17 to 25.
I mean, how much time is Tulo going to play? Is he going to...
No, that's my point, and we're talking about Joe Bean here, so his roster needs tinkering. Yelich, Benintendi, Springer is very likable, right?
Yep.
Can't argue about that. Not a true anchor on this team. Does this concern you? Because he's got some workman-like guys.
Yeah, but
Morton,
you need an
Quintana.
anchor. You need at least one anchor.
Do you need an anchor?
You do.
Why? What if Charlie Morton has a year like last year? That's an anchor-type stats?
Well, what if? Let's see if that happens.
I don't see enough speed on this team either. Andrus? Arcia?
No, but I mean,
Yelich and Benintendi. Yelich has another year.
And then he has a couple of guys. He'll probably...
He won't be last.
No, he'll probably be at the lower end of steals.
Does Robbie Cano, who's on his team, and does Drupal Cabrera concern you?
No, they don't. How could you not like Cano where he got him? I don't think he reached.
He's got a good infield. Anthony Rizzo, Robertson Cano, Elvis Andrus, Asdrubal Carrera,
Yep.
Eric Hosmer, Orlando Arcia. No one wanted to sit with him is not a good sign.
Well, it's difficult, but he does a good job. He's a good dude. I like him. I see him all the time. He's cocky as shit. And you know what? You should be, Joe. You finished 4 money finishes in the last 4 years. God bless you. The real Bean team. Oh, sorry.
I actually think that Joey's season is going to come down to his engagement, his activity, and if Morton and Eovaldi pitch.
What do you mean his engagement?
His engaging with the league.
Okay.
And if Morton and Eovaldi step it up and pitch well, because I don't have faith in Joey overcoming the tinkering that the roster needs. That being said, I think Joey ended up with a good team. Not a great team.
I thought he got a good team as well.
You know what I mean? Not a great team, but a very good team. And it wouldn't surprise me for him to be a contender. Now, I didn't give him the greatest of odds. I gave him 40-1, which isn't bad.
That's higher than I gave him.
Top 5, top 6. I just don't trust him.
Got it.
Okay? I don't trust him. I don't trust his pitching staff. Okay?
So you're saying if somebody else drafted that team,
no,
you may have given them better odds because you know that their managerial skills.
In my opinion, all he needs is starting pitching. He's got closes. He's got a good offense. He lacks a little speed, but I think he has one focus: starting pitching. And I don't think he has the means to go out and take care of it.
Okay.
But I do think he's possibly a top 5, 40-1, because I think when it's all said and done, the people ahead of him just run better teams. All right, let's talk about the number 18, Bloody Nine. Okay, and that's Chris Donnie, and Chris Donnie, we all love, but he started off on fire. Remember, I was all on him. This is a great team. This is a great team. This is a great team, and then the wheels fell off. Now, I don't know when the wheels fell off. I think that. Let me start with his draft. He went Ronald Acuna, who I would have been content with in the first round.
Love him.
Okay, Garrett Cole, Chris Bryant, who I love, JT Realmuto, Jose Barrios, who I love, Eddie Rosario, who I love, Michael Conforto, Wade Davis. Okay, the Wade Davis, was all about when he started calling out closers and, follow the draft, dude, because you know what? At the end of the day, you shouldn't, we shouldn't have to worry about what you need, okay? That's 1 through 8. I can't argue with that.
Right.
And I think we might have shook him up a little bit, said some things to him, he's yelling at, he's getting all crazy, and then he goes, Brian Dozier, who I hate, okay? Eduardo Rodriguez, who I like. Billy Hamilton, who might be a good pick, but he doesn't do anything else. Rick Porcello, Pedro Strop, Fernando Tatis Jr., who's a Super 2. You won't see him for half a year. Jorge Polanco, Ross Stripling. Now, he started off on fire. The wheels fell off. Did he start to struggle because we got him off his game?
No, he got off his game. I don't think he struggled. I thought he did.
Don't forget he has help.
I thought he had a consistent draft. Did he get jammed up? Did he slow the draft down? Yeah, a little bit. Did he get mad because he couldn't get the names and people are shouting out the names to him? But
he
fine.
asks every 2 players who got picked.
But I like the back end of his draft. I got to tell you, I don't like the Peterson.
You like Jay Bruce, Maikel Franco, Jeff Samardzija, Starling Castro, Andrew Haney, Jock Peterson, Sergio Romo.
Well, let's see if Haney gets healthy, he'll be all right. Yeah.
Has Haney ever been healthy?
Never. Good point. But
what happens to Stripling when we all get back?
What happens to what?
Ross Stripling when they all come back.
Well, he got Stripling, so that's pretty good.
Well, I'd take Tatis in the 4th round. He wouldn't have gotten drafted. He might have got drafted maybe 22.
I thought that was a reach on Tatis, but he heard all the names going.
Yes.
And it kind of triggered him, and he went for him.
It's easy to throw Donnie off his game. Nicest guy in the world. Okay? But think about this. What if he didn't have someone helping him? At least follow the draft. The guy would be a disaster. Chris Donnie didn't end up with a bad staff if all plays out well. Romo and Strop concern me, even though I like Romo for some reason.
I mean, look at his outfield. I thought he did a pretty good job.
Acuna, Rosario, Conforto, Hamilton, it's a strength.
And Rosario, and then you have
But his infield is not a strength.
His infield is not a strength, but you still have. He says, how is it not a strength when you have, a guy like Dozier
Dozier stinks.
He doesn't stink, and you have.
He's on his third team in 3 years.
Well, he's still going to produce.
What is 210 batting average?
Well, he'll bat 240, 250.
What happens to Jay Bruce when they all get home?
He's gonna smack 20, 25 home runs. Jay
Bruce. Frankel, is he a full-time player? Starlin Castro?
Nah, I like Starlin Castro. How do you knock JT?
Polanco?
How do you
I get him more wrong.
How do you knock JT Realmuto?
I'm not knocking Realmuto.
How do you knock Chris Bryant?
I'm not knocking Chris Bryant.
Part of what he has.
That's two of them. I'm not talking about the rest of them. And then you go. I love Cole Barrios Rodriguez Porcello, but Samardzija tripling and then Romo stroke.
At the point of the draft where he got Samardzija, I thought that was good. He has a good chance to do well. I thought that was a good pick. Didn't you cheer that pick when he picked him?
I cheered his first 8 picks.
And then you started woohooing and you started cheering a couple of his picks late.
I think that his infield is lacking, and you combine his infield with what he has in utility right now. Yoma Sanchez and Jock Peterson. This is not good. Is Acuna and Hamilton enough speed? And though I like the Royals and their ability to run, if Hamilton doesn't steal, he doesn't give you anything else.
Well, let's see. He's not going to lead off for them right away. So let's see if he can work his way up to that. But Hamilton is a tricky guy. They're going to let him loose in Kansas City, so that works out for
Everybody's
him.
running loose in Kansas City.
And everybody's going to let loose. So I think he has a chance. And we all know he's a one-category guy, but he's a guy that even if he doesn't start, he can still get a steal because they'll pinch run for him at the end of the game, and he'll get those stats. He'll get those occasional ton of runs and a ton of stolen bases, more stolen bases. But let's see how it works out.
This is a bad batting average team that he has.
It is a bad batting. He has a horrible batting average. Yep.
There's just too much for Chris to do.
Too many guys that bat between 220 and 250.
He was overactive last year. Remember how many trades he made?
Yep.
I think he's going to do the same thing.
I don't think so. I thought he learned his lesson from that, and I think he's going to slow down a little bit.
I don't think he's learned his lesson because I think he's got a bad team. And I think that this is a 300-1 team. And I think the problem with Chris Donnie is that mentally, he's incapable of organizing and following the draft. And he gets distracted too much. And it shows in his final results. And he's going to be frustrated and overactive.
I got him around mid.
Finishing mid. This is a bad team. He has
like
a bottom 5 finish.
All right.
I mean, right now only a team has no name and Tony Steigers are worse than it.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about the 9-team cream team. And, Darryl, he's getting old. I don't know how old he is. He's got to be in his late 70s.
You know what? God bless him. He came from Long Island. He was one of the first people there. He might have been there before you and Paulie.
No, I was there early.
Okay.
He had the 9th pick. It was a good little middle pick. He didn't get the last pick. He had the belt. The belt looks like shit. It's all tarnished. The fucking decals are messed up.
He used it as a coaster.
I think he put it up his ass or something. It wouldn't surprise me. I would have put it up my ass if I'd known the next team I was going to take was 24 home run. Anyway, he goes Nolan Arenado, and I thought Nolan Arenado was the guy that was going to drop in the first round a little bit, especially with J.D. Martinez and a lot of the speed guys like Acuna and Scherzer being involved. Justin Verlander, and then this is when it started to get crazy, Max Muncy. And Darryl's the type of guy in the draft that he gets attacked. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He gets attacked. People just attack him because they can't believe some of the picks.
But it is pretty funty, and I got to tell you, we're glad he's okay. But the funniest, a little
bit early on Max Muncy.
The second funniest, thing that happened at the draft. It was the funniest top 2, was when he was picking Julius Chasen.
He couldn't even.
And he couldn't get it out.
He
get it. He didn't know the team he was on.
What the hell
was
he
couldn't
saying?
get it. He couldn't get it out, and he was like Julie chicken, and he was like chicken.
Everybody crushed out.
And then Big Max looks at me and goes, "All jokes aside, I don't know if he was calling at a play or having a stroke."
I thought it's a good point. You gotta watch I hope someone at that place knows CPR. And then he goes Matt Carpenter. So Darryl, he's old. He likes the old names. He follows the old guys. I think Matt Carpenter's a little bit overrated. Don't forget he had a bad half year. Yasiel Puig. I thought the magazine's overrated Puig a little bit.
Yeah, but he's a guy that on that team, he can
Why? Because of the
succeed.
ballpark?
Why not?
He's never been an issue, a head case the whole time.
He's always going to be a head
Underachiever?
case. Well, maybe this is the year that he can.
I don't know if they're overranked him based on the ballpark.
But he's still an incredible talent who, on the right situation, you got to remember, the Dodgers aren't the perfect organization to play for. And Roberts didn't know what the hell he was doing for.
Are you
years.
saying it'll be a more relaxed environment?
It very well could be, and more fun for him.
I know maybe
relaxed.
more. It's cold
Let's
in
see.
Cincinnati.
Let's see what happens, and you know what? Maybe it'll keep him inside instead of outside, and I think he has a ton of potential in that ballpark and in that lineup.
Joey Votto. Well, I wanted no part of Votto. The magazines is overrate Joey Votto. 5 or 6 on the first base. Julius Chassin, what a disaster that moment was. Cody Allen in the 8th round wasn't bad because Darryl didn't pick a closer in the 8th round. He goes, Cody Allen, Jordan Hicks. I love Jordan Hicks.
Yep.
Then he goes Tim Beckham because he played. Matt Barnes, who you might get lucky with. So he ends up with Allen, Hicks, and Barnes after not really jumping on closers. I like that.
Okay.
But then he gets into that old thing. Ryan Braun, John Lester, Delino DeShields. Then he goes Julio Teheran in the 50th round, which I thought was a great pick. Okay? Marcus Stroman, who I'm not a big fan of. C.J. Cron, then an old guy. Matt Kemp, Ronald Guzman, like Kevin Pillar, Nick Markakis. So we see Carlos Gonzalez, Mike Fiers, Adam Wainwright. You got to close better than that.
But you clearly like his team better than I do.
Well, what would his team look like in 2 months?
Oh, he already put 90% of his team on the block.
But all his bad players.
All his bad players, of course. Well, there's a lot of bad players, so I mean, that's why I think you like his team better than I do.
No, Darryl had so many embarrassing moments that this draft. It's funny because at the draft you'd think this guy drafted a horrible team, but it's not that bad. I mean, his pitching is not that bad. Cody Allen, Matt Barnes, Jordan Hicks.
He doesn't have enough stolen bases.
We're talking about his pitching right now, but he's going to compete in pitching unless he trades it. Justin Verlander, Julio Teheran, John Lester.
Wait a minute! Why, all of a sudden, Julio Teheran is going to be this fucking incredible pitcher again? Who didn't like him? But
he had a good year last year. Teheran.
He was okay.
We're not
last
talking
year.
about an anchor here.
I mean, Lester. Let's see if age is catching up to him.
We'll take in Muncy and
age. You said Buster Posey was old at 31, and this pitcher is not old at 35. I mean, you gotta.
I think
you gotta. Take that. Marcus Stroman, is he ever going to have an ERA under 5?
I hate a lot of the Blue Jays. He could have had other people better than Muncy and Chassin when he took him. Is that going to hurt him?
Well, Muncy.
He probably could have got them anyway.
Muncy was a reach when he got him, but he does play multiple positions. He has home run potential. That's a guy that if you wanted him, I guess you had to go for him early.
The line of the Shields, what about him? Is he like Buxton? Is he ever going to... One day someone's going to have the Buxton year to the Shields year. Is this the Shields year?
What I want to know where he got him in the draft.
14th round.
Too early.
I don't know. Speed has got such a value.
Too early. He's going to have 400 at-bats. He's
supposed to play every day.
I don't think so.
What about Markakis, Kemp, Braun, Votto? How old
Again, he drafts an old team, that's my point. There's a lot of question marks on the team. Are they going to hold up? Every one of them are older than the guy that you told me was ancient in Posey. They're all older than Posey. So how could you not?
Well, because Posey plays a little different, and they baby Posey a little bit. I think that Darryl has too many old guys. Okay, and I could be wrong. He needs more speed. And, but this team could surprise because his staff isn't that bad. My concern with Darryl is does he hold the aggression back to change his team? Does he do that?
No, he's going to be a live wire again, of course. You think he's going to stop trading?
I think that Darryl, and he took this guy too early, Max Muncy. If Max Muncy repeats a little bit, and if Matt Carpenter has a decent year, and if Votto does well, this team is better than you think. And it's funny because in the moment, we all made fun of him at the draft. But when you look back at it, it wasn't that bad. And I give Darryl, believe it or not, 75 to 1 odds. It's not that bad of a team. It's not that bad. But he's going to dismantle. All right, Sal, moving along. Let's go to the 10th team. Okay, and as you know, The video is
the other guys.
The other guys. This is Tommy D'Amico and Joey D'Amico. Now they had the 10th pick, and they kind of followed the book a little bit. Tommy definitely does come into this draft with a plan. He's a little more scientific and focused. He doesn't get distracted. He could sit anywhere. Nobody bothers him. He's got the earpiece. He's got the computer and all that stuff. So, and I know he kind of follows books. It wouldn't surprise me, just like 24-1, if he knows Adam Ronis and Lenny Melnick and satellite radio. This has got satellite radio and all these guys written all over it. Alex Bregman, Chris Sale, Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is so overrated. Gene Segura, Gleyber Torres, Robbie Ray, 6th pick too early. Felipe Vasquez, Kirby Yates. I like Vasquez Yates 7-8.
Yep.
Great combo closer. And then he goes, Mike Moustakas, who I don't know why people like Mike Moustakas.
Because he smacks a ton of home runs.
What did he do last year when he became a Brewer?
Come on, you got to give him time to settle.
When was the last time he had a good year?
Didn't he have a good year?
Did he ever play second base before?
Well, that's a question mark.
So now he's the all-time overall side. He's a big boy to play second base. Then he goes Wilson Ramos, who I actually liked coming into the year. Willie Adames, which is fine. Hyunjin Ryu, who I think is solid. This is all book satellite radio picks. Tuki Toussaint, who's not going to start out. Kyle Schwarber, okay, who I actually think is going to have a breakout year.
I like Schwarber.
And then the draft disappears for me. Kristen Stewart, bad team. Derek Rodriguez, bad team. Odubelo Herrera, that team is so crowded. Leonis Martin, I can't stand him.
He's going to finish middle of the pack in stolen bases. He's going to finish above average in home runs. You know, his team.
Ryan O'Hearn.
You don't like O'Hearn?
I like O'Hearn a little bit, but bad team. Okay, so there's a theme here. But there's a theme here.
You can't always do that because there's been great players on bad teams every year.
Ronaldo Lopez, Caleb Smith, Pete O'Brien.
Sometimes the best closers are on the worst team.
I think it's obvious that Tommy follows something, somebody. You know, he listens to something, because the form is there. It's like when you read a racetrack form, okay, and you look at the form and you see, and that's why you know the favorites are picked. I don't like where he picked Robbie Ray, and I don't like where he picked Cody Bellinger. He had a strong 12 rounds besides them, and then the wheels came off again. But when I construct a roster, I look at his draft, but then when I translate it to a roster, it's not as bad.
Okay.
Not as bad, but that don't mean anything. You know, if he moved Bellinger, right now he's got Bellinger in his outfield. If he moved Bellinger to the infield, it would look a little better. Because then he would go Bellinger, Torres, Segura, Moustakas, Adames, and Bregman. But it would weaken his outfield. He has 2 stud closers, Vasquez and Yates. I wish he would have given Sale more support than Robbie Ray. What do you think about that?
That's a very good point. You know, Sale, they got him kind of late. He's going to rack up wins. He's going to strike out a ton of people.
Are you worried about Sale?
I'm not.
They gave him the money.
You know, they gave him the money, and
he put on weight this year.
Did he? He definitely threw a lot of pitches last year, so let's see if that helps or hurts him. Sometimes the guys that threw a ton of pitches the year before, I mean, he got hurt towards the end of the year, but these guys that throw a ton of pitches the year before, they're not the same.
Well, he didn't throw as many because remember how delicate they were with him? They led on. I don't know if they led on to, and this is another thing about to get off a tangent.
I mean, I love Caleb Smith. How can you not like him?
Ray was too early. I don't like Bellinger's swing. His outfield utility combination looks like a headache. Bellinger, Schwarber, Stewart, Herrera, Martin, and Swanson. Donsby Swanson. I mean, come on.
I'm not a big fan of Swanson. I love Ronaldo Lopez. I mean, you know, his pitching has potential. And
then you look at his pitching staff: Ronaldo Lopez, Brad Keller, Derek Rodriguez, Caleb Smith, Robbie Ray. He ain't gonna compete in wins.
I like that. But you don't have to compete in wins, but if you get the other ones down.
And ratio?
Tons of strikeouts.
Rodrigez and Keller are overrated.
He's going to get crushed and whipped.
He's going to get crushed and whipped. Now, this, to me, is a mediocre staff. But one thing about Tommy is Tommy has improved his style, his management, and he does contact people and he does make moves.
He does.
He used to be like one of those guys like Joe Bean. Yep. You could never find him.
No, he's definitely been more aggressive, more reachable.
He's got some good players on his team, but he's got too many players from bad teams. Too many White Sox, Royals, Tigers, Diamondbacks, and Giants. And I do not like this. This is not a fun team to watch because he's on bad teams that you don't want to watch. It's going to be a whole year. This is not a good team. It's 200-1. He's going to be involved. He's actually one of the better owners to talk to and trade with. He's not scared to make a trade or give up a player. But this isn't that good of a team. He's 200-1. This team bores me a little bit, kind of like Akeem has
I got him finishing middle of the pack, so that's fair.
But that don't mean anything middle of the pack. He's not a contender. So far, we did 10 teams, and the only contender right now is the Bean team.